to, grind tires and put gas in. And all the little things take time, and when you're only one guy, you can only do so much.
If your worst enemies on the racetrack, but your best of friends, afterwards. And if you break your car and you need a part, they're there to help you.
Andy Wagner of Ada, Minnesota is a hometown favorite to watch at Norman County Raceway. Andy devotes all his spare time in the summer to racing, which can be a challenge, especially on a night when he is racing in the pure stock class and the Midwest modified class.
A buddy and I was a sophomore, going to be a sophomore in high school, got this wacky idea of building a road hog for Glendon. So, his dad kind of got us started in that and raced a couple nights in Glendon, and he got into a pure stock and I got back into a 4-cylinder. And I just stuck with the 4-cylinder for a couple of years, and then I bought a pure stock, moved up a class, wanted a little bit more speed. And I raced that for, this would be my 4th year, but part-time kinda with that. And I moved up to a Midwest modified this summer, a little bit faster. My pure stock, that never had any trouble with that. I never blew a motor, never transmission, nothing. And I get in the B mod, and the first night I blow a motor. So my luck was like, it's kind of down, and put a brand new one in. 2 nights later, blow that one up. So 2 motors in 3 weeks is not fun, especially when I'm by myself trying to get everything put back together so I can race Sunday. I have that one day of working on the car by myself and getting everything back to where it should be. The more guys help me, the easier my life. Race day is a lot better. To grind tires and put gas in, and all the little things take time, and when you're only one guy, you can only do so much. I've made a lot of sacrifices. Used to go out to the lake every weekend, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Now this year I've made it out twice. Every weekend's been full of, doing something to the car. You just can't let it sit. It's not going to fix itself. So, you got to do it and just, take the sacrifices. And, some guys have girlfriends. I don't have a girlfriend. My race car is my life in the summer, and, you spend every single night with it, and you kind of grow accustomed to seeing that and working on it. Sometimes it's a little tiring of working on it, but, you have to do it to be competitive. You talk to guys around here, and it's, they say they work on their cars 2-3 hours, in the morning. I'm not that way. I like to putz on it. I'm a guy that works on it 2-3 hours, goes inside, goes back out for another 2 hours, and I take my time. I enjoy learning what to do to the car. It's all a learning experience for me. My attitude towards racing is I don't like fixing a lot, so I drive clean. I try to drive clean, and if I wreck someone, I always go up and apologize, say I'm sorry. I don't mean it, but sometimes the car does funny things and you can't help it. It's just one of them things. Last year, my first pure stock win in Glendon. I was close a couple other times a couple of years ago. Never got that chance of winning. And I like to win. I'm out there to have fun, though. It's all about having fun. And, leading the first, 10, 12 laps in Glendon the first night, you kind of get that mindset of, I have a chance to win. And then, I won, I was like really happy, And then the next week, go to the track, you're pretty pumped because you just won. And you have that, sign on the back of your car saying, I won last week. You just, everyone's out to get you because you're the previous winner. And then, I won 4 times in Glendon, 3 in Ada, so I won 7 times last year. And, it was fun. That competitive edge, I love competing. It's just in my blood. So that's why I kind of moved up to a B mod because, I had fun with it, but it just got to the point where I needed to move up and try something different. He's always there riding with me, just watching out for me to make sure nothing is going to happen. And, if it does happen, he's always there going to protect me.
The Racing Life is sponsored by Dakota Cat, Norman County Raceway, Superior Builders, Valley Alignment and Repair, Northland and Harry's Towing, ARC Lanes.
Andy has a lot of support from his fans and also from his mom and his sister. Andy talks about how each of them have an important part in his racing.
My mom and my sister are probably the 2 biggest fans that I have. My sister comes every week, videotapes for me. I sit down and watch the DVDs numerous times, seeing if I can learn something from one week to another. And my mom is always going to be there at the racetrack for me. No matter if she is busy that night, she'll always take the time to come out. Even if it's just for the feature, she'll come out. And at home, she doesn't know much about cars, but I can actually have her come and help me once in a while. And, I can tell her to turn a wrench here and push a button there. And, she's always there to support me no matter what.
We go to every race that he's ever been in, even when he first started at 15 or whatever he was. And I just get really nervous. And this has been the worst year, I think, probably because he moved up to another class, and it gets a little nerve-wracking for me. But, he loves doing it, so that's a good thing. And people in the stands just love, watching my reactions for some reason. I don't know why. Like tonight when he started smoking, I just put my head in my hands, and people came and said, "It'll be okay." But after, this is our 3rd motor this year, and it's like, it's not always so okay. There's a lot of people pulling for him. And I have the bowling alley, and so they always ask how things go. Tomorrow morning I'll be asked right away, where did he end up and how did things go? Monday morning it's the same thing. So everybody's concerned, and I think that's a plus, that everybody kind of watches out and thinks about how he's doing, and the kids always ask, and they're always, so it's a positive thing to be here that so many people care.
It goes back to long time. I'd say 3-4 years old. Jake Bitker actually worked at the bowling alley, and I don't know, he just all of a sudden called me Spud Potato, and Spud's been my nickname through high school. Now, everyone in Ada knows me by Spud Wagner.
It's just stuck with him. It's always been there, and so he's just known as Spud, So, and he would come and he would bowl for hours on end. As a 2-3-year-old, he could, hardly walk, but he was always bowling. And so they'd always say Spud, and I don't know if he liked potatoes too. I don't think so, but they gave it to him and it's stuck. And Jim Berkemeyer, the radio announcer, that's what he's always called him, because that's what he knows him as.
28, Spud Wagner, racing the 3X to the outside. On the
And
inside.
even when he was in high school and played sports and stuff, it wasn't Andy Wagner, it was always Spud Wagner, always. And so that's how, as far as I know, that's kind of how he got it.
That's my dad. He passed away 8 years ago. He's my co-pilot, as I'd call him. You know, he's always there riding with me. You know, just watching out for me to make sure nothing is gonna happen. And you know, if it does happen, you know, he's always there gonna protect me.
He's done a lot of things without, because his dad died in 2003, and so he's done this all on his own. And that's pretty impressive, I think, you know, that he's willing to kind of take the bull by the horns and do some of this stuff, even though it's cost him a lot of money this year. But, you know, we just take one day at a time and say, it'll be okay. You know, we'll figure it out and we'll go from there. You just have to work harder.
Andy's other hobby in the summer is coaching baseball. A lot of the kids on his team like to come out to the races and cheer on their coach.
Do you call him Spud? You call Andy Spud, or is Andy Andy?
We call him Wags. Yeah, Wags. Wags, sometimes Spud.
Gavin, what position do you play?
Left.
And Cooper, what does Wags do to make him a good coach?
He makes us practice a lot to help and makes us work a lot. He's a lot of fun. Like sometimes when I dive for a catch, I had some dirt on my pants. He was like, "Why are you so dirty? Come on, why are you so dirty?" And then I was like, "Come on," you know. And then sometimes he's like a lot of fun, and he pitches it really good to us.
He's really fun. He makes us work sometimes to get it right, and yeah, I think it really helps us.
He makes us work hard and make us better, and just a fun coach and makes us laugh a lot. Like he does stuff for us and coaches us, and we just want to support him for racing.
I guess I come for Andy and yeah, I guess Blake Jeffig.
And if it all works out, you should be even at the finish line. And whoever crosses the finish line first, you know, ends up winning. And if you win, you go to the next round and do it all over again until there's, you know, one winner.
The Racing Life is sponsored by Performance Auto, Randall's Excavating, Nugget Vending, KRJB and KRJM, Elite Therapeutic Massage and Specialty Makeup. The Racing Life's Fan Pictures of the Week is sponsored by Superior Builders, specializing in post-frame building.
One weekend in July, we got away from the dirt and followed Jeff Korol at Top End Dragways in Glendon, Minnesota. Like many racers, Jeff got hooked on racing at a young age.
It started back in the 70s. I was working at a gas station, and two of the guys that worked there were older than I were, and they raced out here, and I just, and you know, they always brought their race cars to the shop, you know, and worked on them and stuff, and I kind of got hooked on it and started coming out here, and eventually bought my own race car, and you know, and sold that, you know, a few years ago, and now bought this, you know, the Beretta that we run now. So that's kind of how it all got started. The track has been around for 50 years. It was just got bought out by Charlie McCann. He's the new owner out here. I'm helping him out with advertisings and promotions. I do the safety side at the racetrack and track prep and whatever needs to be done. So I want this track to stick around and stay, and you know, that's, you know, get it back and up and running. In the morning, get up at usually 7 o'clock, and I'm out on the track with the tractor, with the rubber drag, dragging rubber into the track. That's probably, you know, depends on the day. You know, like this morning, we had rain overnight, so then we had to squeegee all the water off first, and then start dragging. And after we drag it, then we've got a big blower that we blow all the loose rubber and everything, you know, debris that's on the track, and then we go get the sprayer, which we have the traction compound on, and then we spray the whole track from, you know, the starting line all the way past the finish line. You know, that way you have traction and you're not going to lose traction, you know, when you're going down the racetrack. We run the program on Saturday and Sunday out here. We start in the morning and you get 3 time trials, which you get to run down the track, get to see how, you know, what time your car is going to run. Have about a half-hour lunch break, and then it's go into eliminations. And what you do is, from your time trials, you figure out how fast your car is going to run, and then you write that number, say, you know, 1039 on your windshield. Well, when you get up to the starting line, the tower people put your dial in on the car, plus the guy that you're running. Say the guy's running a 12:54 in the other lane, 12.54 seconds. Well, he gets the head start. The lights will come down on the tree, and he'll leave before you do. And if it all works out, you should be even at the finish line. And whoever crosses the finish line first, you know, ends up winning. And if you win, you go to the next round and do it all over again until there's, you know, one winner. My daughter, Chelsea, is my crew chief. She's the one that calls all the shots on the car when we're at the racetrack. My son works for a professional drag race team, the Allen Abbey Top Fuel Dragster, which Del Worsham drives, which they're currently, you know, leading the points, you know, in the Powerade system for NHRA. So yeah, it's a family affair.
I do a lot of the work on the car for my dad. Just frees him up to do his job as a driver, do his job as helping out at the racetrack. So I alleviate a little bit of the stress by come in the morning, get the car unloaded, make sure tire pressure's good, help him check fluids, make sure we have fuel in the car. I do we have a canopy that we put over the car, so make sure that's up and running. Just get the battery charger out. Make sure everything is prepared for the day at the beginning of the day. When we do come up and race, I'm in charge of setting the tires, making sure they're always at the exact tire pressure we want them at. I get my dad belted in the car, make sure he's safe, because I obviously want him to be safe. That's my most important thing. Once we get him in the car, then we just hang out together, and he either sits there and concentrates, or we joke around, depending on the mood on how it is. But I pull him into the burnout box, and once he stages, I am here to check the car, make sure if it's spun, I can see that it's spun. I can see if he's pulled into the staging beams too deep, and that affected our reaction time. And basically just another set of eyes outside of the car, just to, hey, maybe this time we should do this because of that happened. So that's kind of my job with him. I dial the car in every single race, and he listens to me. Because when he doesn't listen to me, something bad usually happens. So it doesn't happen very often anymore, but when we first started racing, we had a little quarrels, but it was far and few in between. So I'm just out here helping him out, do anything that I need to help him with the track. So it's pretty fun to be out here. We're out here to have fun. It's awesome winning races. It's really fun to win races, go arounds, and your adrenaline goes, but it's just more fun just to be together.
The Racing Life is sponsored by Bad Cats Design and Print Solutions, Dakota Engine Builders, Red River Kart Club, Fargo Rental, Midwest Motorsports Weekly, RentalRaceCar.com. Here is the Racing Life's question of the week.
For Jeff and Chelsea, every weekend at the track means time together with family and friends. One weekend in particular, the Wally weekend, is when Jeff had a race he will never forget.
I mean, this is where this is where you spend your weekends together, and there's certain people that well, I've got a lot of friends that I've met over the years, and I go to different tracks, Brainerd or Grove Creek or down in South Dakota and race, and your worst enemies on the racetrack, but your best of friends, afterwards. And if if you break your car and you need a part, they're there to help you. I know I've helped out a lot of people, and a lot of people helped me out over the years. And so, like I said, you strap the helmet on and then look out. But otherwise, it's a whole different story.
We have a very great relationship. Him and I are usually on the same page with everything, so that makes it really easy because I can say, I don't think we should dial the car at 10:39. I think we should do 10:38. He's like, all right, you know best. You just do it, and it works out well. And he tells me, I think maybe we should, we just work together, we communicate, and it works out well. Just being on the same page, and we're out here to have fun. It's awesome winning races. It's really fun to win races, go arounds, and the adrenaline goes. But it's just more fun just to be together. I mean, maybe for me, I don't know, but for him, he gets to drive, so he gets to have a little more fun than I do. But just to be together, spend the family, the quality time, all day, all weekend, just Dad and I.
In NHRA, they win the Wally. That's all the big guys run. And every year they have one race at all the NHRA member tracks, and it's the Wally weekend, and that's what everybody comes for. And I had raced a guy, Mark Arnold, in a Chevelle out here, and got it and did my burnout, and I come up and did my routine just before we started, and I looked up and our times were identical. And I went, whoa, this is kind of cool. So anyhow, the tree came down and I left, and Mark was about a car length and a half out ahead of me. And I just about said, there's no way I'm going to catch him. I should just get out of it. And I thought, no, I'm just going to run it out. So shifted into high gear, and all of a sudden I'm gaining on him, and down to the finish line I ended up winning. But like I said, I just about gave that race up. And actually that's got to be one of my most memorable races that I've been in.
Winning the Wally was a pretty big deal. Everybody wants the Wally. Everybody's out here to win that Wally. And, we've had some tough luck racing. There are times where we had a season where we did great. We were in finals every race, and we'd been having some tough luck. And the Arnolds, we're always in the finals with them, and we always seem to lose to them. It never fails, and it's so disappointing when you do lose to them, but, they're your friends. So when you lose to them, you go congratulate them, and they deserve it just as much as we do, I think. But to win that Wally up against them and heads up, and I always tell Dad, run the car out, don't lift, just run the car out, trust the dial in, and that's what he did. I must have been in the back of your head when you were going to give up for that race, and you just must have listened to me. And winning the Wally, everybody said we didn't even have to watch the race, we just knew when you won because we could just hear you halfway down the track screaming. So that was a pretty big deal. My brother had won one, and now Dad won one, and it was pretty awesome. But just every day out here is fun. Just winning races, being in that winner's circle, it's pretty sweet. Going rounds, your adrenaline pumps, you're working hard. It's tiring, but it's worth every second of it.
If you want to go out and just have fun, it's a pretty good class to get into.
They sign up, and we do a drawing, and if your name's drawn, you get to go for a ride the next week.
What does it say on the back of your car? What does the back of your car say? What does it say on the back of your car, Dustin? What does the back of your car say?
The chicken. Aluminum heads, tunnel ram, 2660 Holly carbs on top of that, power glide transmission, and a 9-inch Ford rear end, and 14-inch slicks, that are tucked underneath the car.
And I didn't understand a word you just said.
But
She didn't want to get it by herself. He was texting his girlfriend the whole way there.
Yep, the whole way.
Yeah.
He told us he didn't have a girlfriend. He said this is his girlfriend.
No, liar.
Is he lying to us?
Liar.